Live. Okay, let me see if I'm live. Yeah, I think I'm live. Okay, there we go. So, guys, we're gonna just wait for the OG. Wordsworth. Wordsworth's two bangers. Chemistry album is out now. Get it! Woo! Oh, nah, if this one will repeat the whole day.
19 with Kareem had a dream, drive a laid back cars, wearing chrome hard jeans. Then he got himself a team and he started running schemes. We're from Brooklyn to Queens, every city in between. Started running up the stores, everybody hit the floor.
Just gonna wait for the OG, guys.
Take the money out the drawer. Smash in the glass, kept a look up by the door. Rich and millies and some cash, another $1 million score. Still he wanted more, from a Ford to Ferrari, from a bus to Bugatti, white horse of a body. Crocodile, furry coats, closet of Ferrari. Went from Chuck E. Cheese, that was kids' private parties. Brought up some potential, walking boxes to the ring. Wearing stolen blink, police opened up the sting. The pin to his phone, left the pole and got a ping. Which was a kingpin, I ended up being not a king. First we started out as friends, and his friends turned to foes. Innocent became cons, and his cons turned to foes.
Oh, there we go, there we go, there we go. Woo! Don't get in the way, 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 don't get in the way. OG!
What's up, man? How you doing?
Wow.
It became a Taco Bell, but the manager was fine selling weed in his shell. It became a FedEx, it became a UPS, then became a CVS, but all left because of theft. Dunkin' Donuts drive-through till it was a drive-by. Then it was Five Guys, still Five Guys died. Opened up a pizza shop, but too many fights. The other night, with the knife slice for a slice. They just signed a lease about to open on the first. And the hood, the only business that works is a church. Church started out as friends, and those friends turned to
Okay. OG. OG.
Yo, what's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Welcome to Hip Hop Nation TV South Africa. It's an honor to have you, sir.
Thank you, man. I love South Africa, man. I love it. Man, I tell people all the time, if I didn't live in America, I would probably move to South Africa.
Definitely, man. It would be an honor to have you sometime. But otherwise, how's the holidays doing so far? And are you resting well?
Yeah, everything's good, man. I'm on break. You know, I teach, so now I'm off. So I'm just I just been writing, recording. So writing and recording music and working on some books. So I've been writing some books.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's what I do pretty much most of my time is just thinking of new ideas, new music, but also just trying to figure out what's the next level of me. And it's really been in the education space. So that's been very dope, been able to like apply my hip hop in education too.
yeah. I was also amazed because I saw you've graduated and like you've got was it an honors or something? If I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, well, I've graduated a few years ago, and I have like a master's in music business, but I also have a program called Organized Rhyme that I licensed to the University of Miami, and
Yes, yes.
I come on screen teaching people how to write songs, and but
Wow.
currently I'm also a professor, and I teach the art of poetry, and I also teach hip hop origins at Monroe University. And then during my daytime, I teach at a middle school. I teach TV, film, and music production. So I'm able to still do everything that I typically would do in my regular life, but I'm able to do it on an education level, So it's just dope.
Wow. Wow. Like basically like that's like Wow, like you're in a position where like you enjoy what you do, but
Oh,
I mean if you look at from where you started and to now, what do you think being an MC like actually means to you in 2026?
I think overall it's really about what is your message as an artist, right? So when I was younger, it was more about proving how dope I am, like being the greatest, right? And then as
Yeah,
I started evolving into a storyteller. And then I was like, okay, I'm a storyteller. So then now that I'm older, I want to make sure I'm having stories that I can tell that relate to people of my age, people older than me, and then people younger than me. So that's the main difference, is just showing the evolution of what I cared about at first to what I care about now. I still care about being the best, but at the same time, I know that writing these songs is now my legacy, right? So me putting out books with my lyrics, such as What Words Are Worth Volume 1, I put a book out with all my lyrics so people could read. So how are people
yeah,
able to get my lyrics and get my word, if you want to say, other than through the music? So now I'm at the stage understanding I need more forums. It's not just music no more. It's
wow.
books, it's films, it's movies, it's TV shows. There's so much other stuff that I do at this age. So that's the growth from being earlier to now.
Wow, that's amazing. I hope I hope everyone that will be watching it that's near around you, they'll be coming to your events.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So do you feel like if it wasn't for hip hop, do you still think there would be a Wordsworth?
Nah, I don't think so, because I was, growing up in New York, where it's the birthplace of hip hop, right, in the Bronx. But I grew up in Brooklyn. But being that it's hometown, it was just surrounding me from when I was, since elementary, like fourth grade, fifth grade, because I have an older sister. My older sister
Yeah,
Kim, she was into hip hop before me, and then she would buy all the records. So it was just something that kind of was passed down, and being the environment we were in, it was
yeah,
impossible not to see it, right? So literally from when you wake up in the morning in New York, you would wake up, you would either play music, or somebody's blasting music next door, hip hop, or the cars have hip hop, right? Or as soon as you
yeah.
wake up, you get in the elevator, right? Once you get in the elevator, go outside, you're banging on the walls, rhyming. Then you get outside
Whoa.
and you're banging on the car hoods and you rhyming, Then you walk into play basketball, you rhyming. It was just like the culture is just, no matter, it's everywhere. Everything you do had hip hop.
Whoa. So basically, like, there was never a moment where like um you were never like outside of hip hop or music. I mean, and considering like um music is a spiritual thing, have you
Mhm.
ever felt like you being part of hip hop at a very early age? Did you feel like you were carrying something very heavy or like you had to learn to be responsible?
Not at first, it's more of a fun thing, right? Because it's music.
Yeah,
So you listen to a
yeah,
song, you like to dance, it gets people together. Similar to
yeah,
now, like to me, in my opinion, the cure to racism is music, right? If you anybody will get together for music, different artists, and listen to the message, right? So to me,
yeah,
that's how it was. So it was always a fun thing. It wasn't until maybe I got to maybe high school, and when I got out of college, then I started, like, years later, working on my solo album and kind of
yeah,
understanding, in order to have longevity, I need to have some stories that were relatable to not only me,
yeah.
but about my life. Who am I, right? What is the story I can tell? And that's the thing that keeps people here for years, is how can you relate to me? What are the mutual thoughts that, okay, me and Ecliptic, what do we have in common? You know what? It could be as simple as something of like, yo, he clipped it. Yo, you remember we used to go down to the store? Yeah, at the
yeah,
store, I buy this and this type of candy and this and that. Yo, I'm gonna tell that story because there's
yeah,
other people like me and you that got a store and they go buy candy. It's as simple as
yeah,
that. Trying
yeah,
to find these realms in which people relate to me.
yeah. And it's interesting that you mentioned that because I've seen um you, Punch,
Yeah.
and Ace. You guys are very good at doing that in writing. Like you know how to make the most simplest thing like an everyday thing, but you know how to put it into writing and like make it very special or unique. Uh, like uh, like it's something that a person wouldn't have thought of. Do you
Yeah.
think you guys are like, yeah? Do you think like maybe like is it something like you guys usually like had planned, like was it a way of like you sharpening each other?
Yeah, it's also intentional, right? Like Ace has more experience, and the reason Ace is here this long is because he's a great storyteller, right? You
Yeah,
know, he even has a musical, like Ace is doing things that deal with storytelling and taking it to that level, right? It
yeah,
just was an understanding of our favorite rappers to be here, and while we still listen to our favorite rappers, were their storytelling abilities in their songwriting, right? So if you take a Slick
yeah,
Rick, A Children's Story is his biggest record, and to this day, everybody loves that record. If you bring
yeah,
somebody even more modern, if you say like a Corday, he tells you about his lifestyle, him growing up, right? So anybody that we think about even today, they tell you stories about their community, they tell you stories about their family. So that's the main thing. And then us being around each other, we're all in the same mindset of saying, okay, you know what? Maybe we do this angle. We're thinking of different ways to twist it and make it something interesting for people that's listening at home. So there's a lot of quality control, a lot of quality checks, right? It doesn't just, the song just
yeah,
doesn't come out. There's a lot of
yeah,
scrutinizing it. Yo, we probably should say this. Yo, let's say that instead, right? So there's a lot of like
yeah,
intentional and scrutiny and pride in what we
yeah.
put out.
Whoa, whoa. And then I mean you actually mentioned also like your during the 80 days with Mirror Music, but I wanna touch on the lyricist lounge era. Um, what did that era mean to you, like for you as an MC?
Man, it was one of the first times that we had places to go have open mics and showcase your skills and meet everybody else in the city that rhymed as good as you did, right?
Yeah,
Because the Lyricist Lounge wasn't just one place. It's so let's say this week you're on let's say this week you're in Johannesburg, right? The
yeah,
Lyricist Lounge, Johannesburg, Joburg. Then next week the Lyricist Lounge could be in the Cape.
yeah,
Yeah, that's how it was. It would move around. So now I'm
yeah,
meeting people from Joburg. We going at it. Then I'm
yeah.
going over to Cape. Rest in peace to Ben Sharper. I might meet Ben Sharper over there. Like, what I'm saying?
Oh,
I might meet him over
legend.
there, right? Because it's moving
Yeah,
around. So all these
yeah,
different places. So for us, that was dope because the name was there, Lyricist Lounge, so it was building up his name. But the fact that it was moving around, it was actually introducing everybody together in the city. So it was one of the best places you could go at that time. On top of the New Eurekan Poets Cafe, in which they also had their own thing going on, as well. Every Wednesday, and every third Saturday, every not every Wednesday, every third Wednesday and first Saturday, something like that. I got Rocky. My guy Rocky, he would do something open mics, and Bobito from Stretch Armstrong and Bobito fame, he was the
yeah.
host, and we would go to
Oh,
the Freaking Poets Cafe to the point like even if I had school, I would go on that Wednesday evening, stay out to 1, 2 in the morning. Then I got to go catch a train back to school. Take me like about 2 hours to get back to school, but I wanted to go to that open mic,
yeah.
and then I wake up
Whoa,
in the morning and then go to class. So that grind and that grind was just it just proved how much you wanted it. So yeah, the Lyricist Lounge, New Eurekan Poets Cafe, Rocky Presents was dope.
Wow, wow. And is there anyone like specific in that space you feel like changed how you approach writing without even them giving you advice?
Well, just the banter that was around at that time was like backpack rappers and punchline rappers and all of that. Hearing that after a while, I had to go like, well, I don't want to be that, right? Only. So I had to start switching it up. So shout out to Matt Fingers. He was one of the first people that started paying us to rap on a record. And Matt Fingers would get a lot of us together on songs. And I had just made a conscious decision to stop rapping about myself and how good I rap. So anytime I started getting on songs, I started telling stories. One of the
Oh,
biggest songs that changed my trajectory, if you want to say, was a song called "Pick and Roll," in which I'm describing a relationship with a girl, but it's actually a bowling ball. So and that stayed in the concept of pick and roll because it's picking up a bowling ball and roll a bowling ball, but you thought it was talking about a relationship with a girl. And then from that,
oh,
once you kind of got their mind like, oh, okay, everything after that, no matter how much somebody would brag about themselves on a record, I would just start rhyming a story instead. And that helped me intentionally build a reputation on storytelling.
oh, oh.
But you
And
got to be
so
I had to be mindful of what people were saying, right? Like I didn't take
yeah.
it as offense and be like, "Yo, f that." I'm just gonna still do this and this and that. I took it like, okay, that's a challenge. You get what I'm saying?
Wow, wow. So when you approach writing, do you feel like you're trying to solve something, or maybe you're trying to express an emotion, or make a sense of life?
Definitely, because the words are so powerful, right? I mean, we got the Bible. People follow the Bible, live by the word of the Bible. People always will give like recommendations for books. Yo, you should read this book. This book changed my life. Yo, you should hear
Yeah,
this song. This song changed my life, right? You got things that we talking about thousands of years old worth of literature to current literature that's in the form of music in which it's words, right? It's words spoken by somebody. In which I always tell people this: if you want to know how good I am, just say my rhymes without the beat. Say my rhymes, just say my rhymes to yourself, and you'll really realize how powerful the words are, right? Because when you're watching people at open mics, they get up with other people's books and they say, I want to read a passage from Ecliptic's book called this and this and that, right? And they want to read and it still has an impact. It still hits like,
mm,
oh man, that's incredible. Even though somebody's reading your stuff, right?
mm,
So there has to be an understanding of like when I'm writing it, I always go, am I writing this good enough that somebody else can say it and it feels just as powerful? So that's my approach.
wow. So in your experience, right? What do you think is more challenging between the two? Writing something simple that hits deep, or writing something complex that still feels real?
I think that's where the confusion is because simplicity can be complex, right? And complex can be simplicity. So that's where the confusion lies, in which you have to be simply clever, right? You can be complex, but you got to be clever, right? So I try to say it's like giving directions, right? I could be if I'm with you and we in SA and you're like trying to tell me to go somewhere and you give me too many directions, I'm gonna be lost. Yo, you're gonna see like the big blue church, and then when you make a right, then you're gonna see this building, somebody got graffiti on the wall, and then it's a blue bench over there, and you give me all of that, which is cool. I'm like, okay, I gotta see the church. They go to church, then they got the blue graffiti, this and that. Then somebody else giving me the same direction might be like, my man, just make two lefts and then make a right. You're gonna see it.
Well,
Same, same thing is solved. Same thing was solved, but it was done in a simpler fashion, right? So we're
yeah,
trying to figure out, you have to figure out how can you celebrate the same messages and make the music that is easily digestible but doesn't lose its integrity and the intent of what it's trying to do. The intent is to get people there where you want to get them with the song, trying to get you here. You know what I'm saying? So you have to learn that, and it took time because at some point, being super, multi-syllabic with the words or having big words, it was like you're trying to prove a point. I'm ill because I got a vocabulary, but in actuality, you can be confusing if you use too much of that vocabulary because in your day-to-day talk, you wouldn't sound like that. You don't come up to me and be like, "Yeah, man, the combustibles are the intellectuals, allibles." You don't do that. You come up to me and you just keep it regular plain. So why not do that in your songs to an extent?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. So, hmm, that's amazing. So, what was there ever a moment when you write a verse and you felt like, nah, this is too revealing?
To revealing?
Yeah,
Nah, I think like if you just listen to my songs, I'm very like open about stuff. Like if you go back to Guardian Angel, I'm
yeah,
very revealing on there all the times that I went raw and I ain't catch a disease. Like stuff like, wow, okay, because people relate to that and like that's serious stuff. Like to be here. If you listen to this album here, The Fragility of Life, that album right there, that's
yeah,
me on that's me when I'm like 15, going to high school on the cover, and I talk about how my parents, are up in age now, and
yeah,
I'm talking about that about like my dad not wanting to take his medicine and my mom, raising me 9 months and all that. I get on there vulnerability. I got a song on photo album called The Oldest, and I'm rapping about what it's like being the oldest. Even though I'm not the oldest, just give you a mindset of that pressure, right?
yeah,
And then if you listen to like the Stu Bangers album, like you hear that like
yeah,
that song, "Don't Get in the Way,"
yeah,
you I'm in the mindset of what it's like to be 19. You trying to show off and get it. And then also I'm giving you the mindset of what it takes social on a social level in our communities, watching these stores come, and then a new store come, and then a new store come, and then new and these businesses that aren't working in our neighborhoods, and our community is
yeah,
just dilapidated over time, right? From just like, damn, nothing works here. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to take a chance in my own community because the ice cream shop ain't here no more. Every time they open up a Walgreens, they robbing Walgreens. They shoplifting. So these are stories that I'm telling you about what I see that I think, me reporting this news has to somehow shed light on the matters at hand, not only for myself but on a communal level.
whoa, whoa. Um, so also there's a version like of Wordsworth that fans celebrate, right? And then but you being a very unique MC, right? Maybe there might also be like a version of you that people might not fully understand. Do you think there's certain things that people get wrong about you as Wordsworth?
I don't think nobody gets anything wrong. I think the only thing I would say is I have to be more prolific and can't complain.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
It's on me. I have to put out more music. In today's age, right? It's
yeah,
albums almost like an album almost like every month. Some people are
yeah,
album like every week. Like, I mean, the output has changed because the business model has changed. Right?
yeah,
If you could put an album out, but you're not gonna get that much because streaming doesn't pay much. But if you got a lot of material out, the streaming can accumulate, right? So I would say it has nothing to do with people not getting me. It's more so like me having to provide more for the consumer and fan base as much as I can because the business model changed. Years ago, it used to be yo one album and then you chill a couple of years and then it's like yo I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I'm
yeah,
telling you, and then you drop the next one 2 years later. Now you don't have there's no mercy for that. So ever since 2015, I've dropped the album every year or something, So I have around like maybe I think I have like around 11 albums or something like that. And even
whoa,
recently, I dropped the Stu Bangers album recently. That was December. And then even November, I dropped another album with my boy Naps and Dreads called Quick Routes. So I dropped two albums back to back. And then I'm already slated to drop some more stuff this year as well. but it's just understanding that model has changed of
Mm,
people want to hear you more frequently, you know. So taking a break is kind of can be a mistake. But I was one year I didn't put an album out, but what I did do is I put a book out. So
oh,
I put a kids book out. So this book back here is called Socks. That's one of my
yeah,
kids books back there. But
yeah,
so either way though, I feel like each year, whatever I gotta do something that I'm putting out. So
yeah,
this year I'll probably have like 2 books out. I'm working on right now. So I probably have like 2 books out in the next 3 months.
yeah.
Um, so it's just about feeding
Ochi,
the
my bad for interrupting you, Ochi. Can you show them just the book? I want them to see it, and I want
oh,
them to buy it. Yeah,
okay, yeah. So
yeah.
this was
I
this
want,
was my this was my first book, what words are worth, right? Volume 1. This
yeah,
one actually
yeah,
ended up being number 9 on Amazon. Yeah, when this came out. So this was number 9 on
yeah.
Amazon in the poetry section when it came out. And then
So it's the beginning, right?
yeah, it's called What Words Are Worth New Beginning, Volume 1. And part 2 of
Uh,
that is what's going to come out this year. Part 2 of that will come out this year. And then
okay.
the other book is Stocks. So this is a children's book that I co-wrote with my boy Darnell Wright and Lamar Richardson. And we
Yeah,
put this together. So this is called Socks. And it's basically about when you lose your sock, where does it go? And we created
yeah.
this whole world about that. So this is a kid's book. This is actually in my school library and other libraries across the country.
Okay.
Other
Whoa.
students, other schools have it in their library as well. So I show that on my Instagram. We had an order for like 200 books in one day, like in a school. And what we would do, anytime somebody bought the book, we would donate a pair of socks to homeless shelters at the same time. Um,
Whoa.
so those are some of the other things that I do and I've done just to stick with that idea of putting something out every year.
Wow. 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 Um. So I mean, also when you look at like when I look at you guys like your era, like you guys are are very like unique, like from the Keras ones to the Tupacs and you guys. Did you also guys ever felt like there was a point where like maybe the industry didn't know what to do with you guys as well as artists, as an artist?
No, I don't feel like that. I think some of us didn't know what to do with ourselves as artists. You know, some of us kind of didn't want to figure it out, kind of stuck in their ways and just kind of like, yo, this is it. I'm not changing for nobody. I'm not changing. And sometimes you got to get out of that mindset of like, okay, I have to change, but how can I change and still maintain me, right? So that's kind of like some businesses do that as well. You'd be like, man, you know, some businesses where you got to go to the store all the time. Now you got to go online, right?
Yeah,
But those businesses now make more of their money online. If they didn't make that little slight change, they
yeah,
wouldn't probably still be here, right? So it's just
yeah,
trying to be realistic with yourself. It's very hard to be. It's very hard to be honest with yourself sometimes, right? Like, yo, this ain't
yeah,
working this way. Let me try this and try that. But I think as long as you can be honest with yourself, then you'll understand that, yeah, you got some faults and there's other ways you could try to do things. And I'm not saying like just throw everything out the window, but try it to a point that you feel that it represents what you do and you can kind of meet it halfway. So I think that's just kind of where we have been. And some of the elders, you know, are stuck in their ways, such as I may be stuck in my ways on certain things, but at the same time, I'm still trying to make sure that I'm keeping up with what's going on, right? So me teaching
yeah,
TV, film, and music production, I got to stay up on technology. I can't be like, nah, we're not using that. Nah, forget that. Nah, I got to welcome that. Oh, what y'all using to edit? Oh, y'all use CapCut? What's CapCut? Okay, what's that? You got on your
yeah,
phone? What's that? I got to welcome the new stuff, right? So you have to
yeah,
welcome it. It's just like anything else. You got to welcome what's new. So I welcome the new rappers, I welcome the new singers, I welcome everything to learn what's going on.
yeah,
Even it'll make it easier for us today. You know, a lot of times it was harder. Now it's like, oh wow, I didn't know I could do that. I just hit a button. So sometimes you do that and you actually will stifle your growth.
Wow, wow. Um, when you speak of growth, for example, when you look at your solo album, right?
Mhm.
When you listen to that album today, do you feel like there's something that people might have missed, or do you ever like when you listen to fans explain some of the message in the music that they heard, and you probably be surprised like, oh wow, I never thought you took it this way. Do you think there's something that's revealed?
Which album is it? You talking about current albums, old albums?
Mirror Music, your
Oh,
first album.
oh yeah, Mirror Music. I think it's clear cut, like what I wanted to say, what I wanted to talk about. You know, the song
Yeah,
"Be a Man" on there is one of those
yeah,
vulnerable songs. Me talking about
yeah,
borrowing money from my niece to buy my mom something. You know, like that's
yeah,
vulnerable. Dudes got pride. You know, you don't want to ask nobody for nothing. So
yeah,
I think that album and the lyrics to this date stand the test of time because of how honest it
yeah,
was and how honest it
yeah,
is, I should say. And I think to this day, people, you know, they love like the song Shoulder. Like that record is just like a big deal to people to this day. So I think there's no miscommunication on that album or what I wrote or what I write because I had to learn. I learned before I started making my solo albums how to communicate more clearly. You know,
whoa,
I don't
whoa,
think a miscommunication is there hasn't been oh, you know which one, what song somebody asked me about would
yeah,
be on the new album, Chemistry.
chemistry, yeah,
There's a song on it called One Chance.
yeah,
And the first verse, people were like, man, who is that verse about? And that verse is actually about my brother.
yeah,
So if you ever
whoa,
hear that song, you'll that verse is about him. So depending on what the verse is and what I'm writing about, I can tell you where I draw that energy from. That's
yeah,
why, like the book, What Words Are Worth, Volume One, I'm able to explain why I wrote the rhymes, where I got that
yeah,
from. So I don't want it to be like years down the line, you know, Ecliptic, you chilling, and the next thing you know, guy named whatever Henry Watson is breaking down Wordsworth lyrics for his albums, and then and you're reading it and like, I don't know if he meant that. This guy Henry Watson don't, because you get people that don't know nothing
yeah,
about hip hop doing it, and you be like, nah,
yeah,
Wordsworth never said. I got an interview with him. He ain't mean none of this. This guy's because I left it to him. Left it up to
yeah,
him, right, to interpret
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And
but don't you think like maybe like the certain situations, because like for example, music's a spiritual thing, right?
yeah,
And maybe he hears something more positive from the message than what you heard, and you might have not seen the impact of what you are trying to put in that message. So maybe the person that listened to it might have gotten something more deeper. Have you ever had like that kind of a situation?
yeah, I think that has happened with the song like Shoulder, Guardian Angel. There's a lot of those
Yeah,
records are kind of in that vein to people like spiritual.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so I can understand that, but I think that's why it's more important for me to write the books because then you get into a point of if he's interpreting it that way and it might be the wrong way, but it's the right way for him, then maybe somebody interpreting it the wrong way and it's the wrong way for everybody. So
yeah.
you know, so it
Whoa.
has to catch 22 with it, in which that's why I don't mind doing an interview or if you ask me about a song or you have it, you can hit me on DM. You can, yo, words, when you said this, what that meant. I've done that for people
Yeah,
before. They sent me lyrics like quoting a song of mine, and I was like, nah, I said this and that. And they go, oh, and
yeah,
you know, so that's the beauty of it. So it's always going to be somebody that doesn't get the book, so they're not going to know. They're going to interpret it the way they interpret it, right?
yeah.
But I think it's important for me myself, if I can help with interpreting the music, I'm going to try. Look at
Whoa.
Shakespeare. To this day, we're still trying to
Yeah,
say what do you think he meant by that? What do you think he
Yes.
I would rather be Shakespeare and be on stage if possible, able to explain it. Like, no, when I said this, about Othello, or when I did this really meant that. And people be like, oh, So clarity is very helpful at times.
Yeah. Which is also like the same with the Bible. Sometimes people take.
And look how divided we are because of that.
Yes, 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 yes.
A lot of us are divided
Um,
because of that, right? And
yeah,
that's the strongest word in some regards to some people, right? Some people. So that is supposed to unify us, yet you got people that be like, nah, that's not what he meant with that. I took it you got different factions of people based on that. So you only can
true.
imagine what it's like with music.
Whoa. True, true, true. So with the photo album, because I mean that's still like one of the most celebrated projects, right? What chapter do you feel like did it represent in your life? That album.
Apollo Brown brought my career back right there. You know, so within that time, I hadn't dropped the solo album in so long, but I was doing, other projects, so on and so forth, which helped out. But like to get that Joy and Pain record from Apollo Brown, that relaunched my career. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So that was the perfect way to come back. So without that Joy and Pain record, it would have been probably difficult. I think Joy and Pain is on that album, if I'm right. I should be right about that. So that part kind of was like it was such a long hiatus because I had waited for other promises that were made to me.
oh,
So,
wow.
but but nobody cares about that story, right? So you have to understand that, like, nobody cares about that aspect of, you know, we've seen people say that and say like, yeah, I was waiting, the label had me held up, and this and that, and that's kind of what it was. I was living off of a promise, and that was waiting over years to, oh, yo, we're gonna put this album out, do this and this and that didn't get fulfilled. So I just eventually had to just be like, y'all got to put something out because my career is just dwindling down because of time, that time lapse. In which today
Yeah,
you see how people every week dropping albums, right? So I
yeah,
just that was just a resurgence for me, dropping that album helped a lot. That got the coloring book is on that album, I think, as well. Um, I'm just trying to make sure that the discography, I mean, the song track listing, if I'm right. Yeah, Joy Payne is on it. Yeah. So Apollo Brown, I tell him that all the time too when I've spoken to him. And then he got Vanish. He gave me two records on there. But that first single of Joy Payne, I went on tour with that. And that record to this day, when I perform it, people are singing Joy and Pain. Like the crowd is hype.
yeah.
You know, so that was a resurgence for me. And then after that, I just stayed consistently putting stuff out and just understood that you can't have no lapses and this isn't how it works.
Word, word. And I mean, with also fragility of life, since you have it behind, um, with that album, do you feel like it taught you something about yourself that surprised you?
Um, I think it proved how good of a songwriter I was.
Whoa,
Because it was such a
word,
gap from the first one to that one. Then it's like, all right, what are you gonna do? What am I getting on here? But like, knock on my door is like a big record like that. Like the hooks, and it was like, oh, nah, this guy, yo, words could write songs. You know what I'm saying? So I
word,
think that was the main thing at that time for me, was just the fact that people could go, okay, he's still good. He's still good with it. You know what I'm saying? And that was the key for me right then and there, was just like people realizing how good I was still, and actually being patient, waiting, at the same time too. So luckily I was rhyming on other stuff and doing a lot of other rhyming. But like when it's time to do that solo record, there's a lot of high expectations.
word, word. So would it be fair enough for me to say that that is the project you personally feel most proud of out of the three?
Now the most proud of is probably I would say Mirror Music because Mirror Music when it came
Yeah.
out, I don't know how much Double XL was in SA and but Double
Oh yeah,
XL
yeah, yeah. Yeah, we had it, and the source. Yeah.
yeah, Double XL when that dropped, I actually got an XL
Whoa.
for Mirror Music. Yeah, that's no joke. You know what I'm saying? At that time, and there was other artists, big name artists that dropped albums that same
Yeah.
um issue, magazine issue, and they didn't get
Yeah.
that. I had like one of the
Yeah.
highest ratings. So, and
Yeah.
then what they wrote about me at the same time, like, yo, this guy lived up to the hype. You know what I'm saying? With the album, he's able to write songs, the lyricism. Man, I was sleeping on this guy. And then photo album came out years later. That got an L, which is cool. And then for me, so Mirror Music for me set the heights of like, oh, he's really dope like that. And
Yeah.
then what I would say now is the latest album, Chemistry, is probably like my most revered album currently too. So you got
Okay.
the first album to the latest album, and the latest album people say is probably my best album ever. There's people that
Word.
say the latest album is my best album. Um,
Dope.
and they were actually saying that album before this one, because this is me and Stu Banger's second album together. There's an album called
Yeah.
Two Kings before that.
2K, yeah, saw that one as well.
So some people,
Amazing.
yeah, so
Amazing.
people saying like, so the hype of that, and then to have to come back again, of course, is like,
Yeah.
let's see if you can do it again. And then Chemistry,
Yeah.
uh, it actually debuted number 26 in the top 200 on iTunes hip hop albums.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
it's just building momentum of like, okay, people are paying attention. They're like, yo, this guy's still good. And to be doing that in my country, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is a big thing for me too, because I love SA, I love Europe, but sometimes you definitely want to make sure you still got a staple at home too. Like, yo, he at home too, he doing this thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Homies with a hardest. Yeah.
yeah, so that's made me more proud is the fact that Mirror Music came out and it laid a foundation in people's heart. But then to get like Chemistry and you hear Chemistry and you be like, yo, I think people be like, yo, I think he sound better than I thought. The way he's rhyming, he's even better. How you got better, right? And it's really at the end of the day, the the level of competition, like people say, right? So Stu Bangers is so high level, and then
True.
I'm so high level. So when you get us together,
Yeah.
there's a
Chem-
yo, yeah, there's a chemistry, and there's a I don't let the beat me. You know what I'm saying? So there's that mindset
Yep.
too. Um,
Yep.
so yeah, so that's how I feel. So you got Mirror Music, then you got the photo album is like a rebirth, shout to because of Apollo Brown with that record he gave me. And then you
Yep.
got Chemistry, which is, shout to Stu Bangers to have to bring me into this, I guess, next generation of like making music.
Whoa. So in Wordsworth in 2026, right?
Yeah.
What excites what is it that excites Wordsworth the most today in hip hop culture?
I love listening to Conway. I love Con
Whoa!
love
Wow!
I love 38 Special.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think 38 Special and RJ Payne. Who else?
Whoa!
38 Special, RJ Payne, and let me see who else. I'm trying to think of anybody else right now. 38 Special and RJ Payne may be the most perfect rhymers.
Yep.
I think they're so accurate with the word choice. They may be the most accurate. Um Conway to me is just like raw rhyming. Like, yo, get in the car, we'll sit with a job. It just make you be like, he
Yep.
reminds me of like when I hear Jada rhyme. When I hear Jada Kids rhyme, it's so to
Kiss.
the
Yeah.
and it's so on point. So that's what it keeps me inspired, right? If I gotta listen to the best to be the best because the 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 driving me to be the greatest and the best is still in there as if I just started. Like I still feel I'm ill like that. You know what I'm saying? And I have
Mm,
to, so that competitive level comes out. I'm hearing them rhyme,
yeah,
but I'm like, I got a better rhyme in my head. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
so that so that's why when I hear a beat, I still
yeah,
hear the as if I was still like 18, 20. I hear a
yeah,
beat like that with that same energy of like, oh, I'm about to kill this. It always feels new. So yeah, that's what
yeah,
I listen to. Those guys I listen to when I'm in a rut of like trying to maybe think of a rhyme for something. I might have like a few bars and I'll be like, yo, let me throw in some Conway's 38 Special. And then they give me another thing. You know why? It's like being in a cipher. Remember when you
true.
in the cipher, this guy
Yeah,
go, that girl go,
yeah,
that
that's
guy,
how it goes. That's how it goes. Yeah,
and you don't want to lose the momentum of how
yeah,
everybody hype. So you like waiting for your turn. So you
yeah.
thinking in your mind, what am I going to say to keep the levels, right? It's the
Go.
same,
Yeah,
it's the same mindset. I'm listening to them as if I'm in a cipher with them. So
go.
how am
And
I
and I
going
mean, yeah,
to yo,
yeah,
so
and I
when
mean, it's like also exciting. Yeah, like
yeah,
it was also exciting to see did it special. I can't remember which interview it was where he was saying like he wants a challenge with Jada. I can't remember what track it
yeah,
was where he said
yeah.
he went the hardest. Man, it's very exciting because like you're seeing the new and the old and like there's just like this friendly competition.
Yeah, it's a well to me, it's a puzzle, right?
Yeah,
Some people play Candy Crush, they playing on their phone, playing games. People are addicted to these games on their phone. My game
true.
I'm addicted to is writing rhymes. So the
Yeah,
puzzle of writing the rhyme to wow people, I'm just so into that game. So that's
yeah,
my game. You know what I'm saying? Some people, this is my Call of Duty. This is my 2K. This
yeah.
rhyming thing is what I'm into.
Whoa. True, true, true. So, what would be your message that you would like to share with independent artists from all over the world?
Just do the music and put it out. Like you got numerous chances and opportunities. Younger years ago, you didn't have that, right? Before,
Yeah,
if you put something out and the label said it didn't do well, you get dropped and then you can't come back out for some years, or you can come
yeah,
back out once. Now you could put something out, it does okay. I'm just gonna put the next thing out, and you
yeah,
just keep going. You can just keep putting stuff out until you figure out and find yourself. But I think the main thing is just experimenting with the music and not boxing yourself in on your ideas. Try different stuff. Don't let nobody say, yo, you should do that. You should do this and that. Do what you want to do and try it because nobody has a perfect prediction or the predictability of knowing what's going to work.
yeah.
You know, some people you can kind of say it, right? Like when I'm recording songs, I know what the first single should be because I want to set a vibe. It's like going to a
True.
party. It's almost
Yeah.
like I'm DJing my album to y'all in a way. So it's like, all
Mm,
right, I'm gonna set it off with this single right here. So that's the mindset. You know what you want to put out first. Put it out,
yeah.
but just put out joints, man. Just put out the music.
Yeah. Word, word. Ochi, I feel like I owe you and Stu Bangers like another interview. It's just the both of you guys, and you get to discuss chemistry because that album is just way too amazing, and
Thank you,
it
man.
deserves a lot of, I think it deserves like its own time. We just have to break it down because I remember I had I think a couple of months ago I had Rex and Addison, and they broke down their album as well too. I think it was 3 years ago. I think I spoke with Punchline as well.
Okay,
Yeah,
dope. I was on the phone with Punch before I
yeah,
got on here with you.
yeah.
Yeah. So just so you know too, me and Punch are doing an album and Stu Bangers is doing it.
Whoa.
It's produced by
Okay,
Stu Bangers.
okay.
And that'll actually be me and Punch first album together ever.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
That's
this is
awesome.
yeah, it's great because it's like we could have been trying to figure out, put stuff out, just to put stuff out. But like, I think it's
Yeah.
one of those in due time things that happen, right? Like, wow, okay, we got Stu is the perfect soundscape for what me and him do,
Okay. So we got two. So we got two. We got two more interviews. It's you, chemistry, and then the three of you again for the next album.
All right, and let me know, man. It was good that you caught me now because I'm on break, So yeah,
Yeah,
because once
because
I'm out of
you
school,
guys are you guys are so busy, yo.
well, it's
Uh
it's hard to do stuff at this time because I would be in class.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Because I even remember with Punch, I also got him by luck.
Yeah,
So it's so challenging to get you guys, but I'm happy that it's challenging for me to have you to have you guys because you guys are doing something that's productive, and um I'm just grateful that you guys are still alive to be doing what you're doing. Um, you guys are very inspiring, and I always want you guys to always remember that like yo, uh, we love what you guys do. Um,
oh,
even though
thank
sometimes I know it can be challenging in the industry and as artists, but yo, you guys just gotta keep pushing and
yeah,
we,
thank
we
you,
wish you all the best on everything that you guys are doing.
thank you,
But
man.
yeah,
We are, man. We just keep making music, and like I said, it's understanding there's other things to do now. So like Ace is doing a musical, I'm doing books, and I'm on an
yeah,
education level now. Now, if I came to SA, I would love to do a workshop. I would love to teach something. I don't want to just come
yeah,
to do a show. I don't mind doing the show, but
yeah,
now I can get hired to just come out there and do a workshop. I don't got to come do a show. Maybe just, hey,
true,
Words, want you to come talk to these kids, want you to come to
yeah,
the university that we have
yeah,
here and teach about some songwriting. And,
yeah,
I would love to do that,
yeah,
and then if I perform, I'll perform too. I don't mind doing both. But now it's
yeah,
just adding these other things. And before was like just only having, back then CDs and vinyl on the table. Now you come and I come out there, I got books. I got
yeah,
different things now because the evolution has to occur because we're only getting older, right? So I just try to
yeah,
envision who I am. you know, I can be a rapper, of course, to 60, 70, right? There's rappers at the age.
yeah,
I'm sure that's still in up happening because hip hop is only what, if I'm right, is 53 years old now, 56, 53. Yeah. So 53. So you look at it like years from now, right? Our rappers will be older. So we're setting a precedent of what that would be. And in my
yeah,
mind, it's more so what am I laying out for the future of me in regards to um when I'm there at 70 in South Africa, you're talking to me about hip hop and we're
yeah,
interviewing, but at the same time, I have the books out there now, right? That's
yeah,
more appropriate
yeah,
would be, right? Of course, rhyming,
true,
I don't know if I'll be rapping, but it'll be different, right? I'll have the raps
yeah,
probably in a book now. Now it'll be a different
yeah,
format. I'll probably have raps. It's different. So it's just understanding like how to evolve as being who we are,
yeah.
which is still happening every day.
True, true. And I think that would be amazing because I mean, this side we also have like the South African Hip Hop Museum. So I think last year at Back to the City we had who was performing by the way? It was Lupe Fiasco. Yeah, yeah. Lupe
Oh
Fiasco
yeah,
was performing there. Um, I don't know. There's another event, but it's not Back to the City. There's another event I saw. I think just Jusala from was it Cheddar Mines or something. I think
maybe,
yeah, I think he's also coming. But it's another different event. I think it's this year. I don't know when, but I'll check it again. Then the previous year, they had what's this Benny the Butcher. So yeah, I mean
Right.
definitely, Johannesburg would definitely be ready for you.
Yeah, I would love, like I said, I don't mind coming to do music, but at the same time, hey, maybe
Yeah,
get me and Stu
there's
both
a,
come out
yeah,
there. Me and
yeah,
Stu both out there, do the album, but also at the same time set up some daytime stuff for me with the kids and help the kids and the high schoolers. I wouldn't mind going to high schoolers or college. I would prefer to do maybe university, high school, so that way
yeah,
it kind of helps them with their writing and like understand, like, hey, when you do this way, I could teach things that I'm teaching,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
that I'm teaching. So I think that's the way that I would love to give back as opposed to
yeah.
just rhyming. Doing music is dope, but at the same time, if I could share information with them, I'm sure that will be a rippling effect forever.
Mm. Well, that's amazing because I mean, you're thinking like long term vision and basically also thinking legacy. So when people talk about your legacy from now, or what do you hope they remember?
I think people will definitely relate to um, how visual and storytelling and accurate and detail I wrote, right? So I didn't take no bars off, no lines off. Every line in what I wrote, there was integrity in it, right?
Yeah,
Then then also people will understand the potency in which the stories I chose to tell. They'll be like, man, he got a song about this. He has a song about that. He's talking about this, man. You should check this out. That might help this person. That might help you if you listen to this song. So, am I making music that's medication and therapeutic for people is really the main thing. And I think I have made songs that people can say, yo, go check this song out. Or I listen to this every day. This helps me get through. So I think at the end of the day, my legacy is, did I create information that could be shared that could help generations, you know?
yeah,
So that's the main thing. So 20 years from now, 30 years from now, no matter what, the medicine of music of mine will always cure somebody. I think
wow.
that's where I'm at.
And final question, Ochi. If you could have a moment to sit down with young Wordsworth before the release of Mirror Music, what would be your conversation with him?
Don't wait for nobody. Don't wait. Just go. Just keep going, keep going and you know, uh yeah, that would be it. Don't wait. Keep going. Make sure you finish everything you start. I built that habit, fortunately, which is kind of dope. Like, typically I would say 100% if I say I'm working on it, it's gonna come out, it's gonna come out. So building that habit of finishing things, is important. Um, so I would say that. I would say, yo, don't wait for nobody. Finish everything you start. Listen to older people. Listen, don't just hear people. Listen to their advice, um, and then act on things immediately. Those are the things I pretty much live by, right? If I'm on a phone, if you ecliptic, if you be like, yo, man, I got my guy, he does he has a music company, this and that. Check here's the number. I'm gonna hit him tomorrow. I might hit him today. I might hit him after you get off the phone. I'm not gonna wait till like, yo, I'm in him a few days, let him know I'm calling, blah, blah. I'm be like, yo, I'm gonna hit him now. So just being very active in pursuit of things. Um, and then what else would I say? I would say that's it, man. Like I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out for me, to be honest.
For sure, G.
I don't know if you ever seen the TV show I had, right? You remember the TV show, Lyrics Lounge? You ever seen that?
This is down, yeah, yeah. I once saw it, but man, I can't. There's some the episodes I don't remember.
But I
Was it
mean, it
not
was
on
on,
MTV?
yeah,
Was
MTV.
it not on MTV, right? Yeah, yeah, I remember.
So
Yeah, yeah.
at that time, I'm just getting a TV deal. I kind of like skipped the record deal. Before you said to get a record deal,
Mm,
then go on TV. I skipped that and was on TV before I had a
mm,
record deal. So just
mm,
going back to like being the younger me, I didn't have no guidance in the TV world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But what I did do is just make sure I rhymed and rhymed on everything still, and that kind of kept me doing what I am now. So just whatever the case may be, don't hark on those mistakes or whatever you didn't know. Just be willing to grow, learn from
Wow.
mistakes, and keep going. And then the main thing too, one more thing, sorry. Your path is
Yeah.
your path. Your path is your path. I don't worry about like what they doing. Yo, he stole this and that. Yo, he didn't. I just be like, yo, this is my. I'm gonna do what I do with the integrity of what I write and put it out, the music, and it do what it do. I can't be bitter about nobody else's path. My path has been my path, and you gotta love your path.
Wow. Wow.
So that's
Wow.
it.
Ochi, thank you so much, man, for joining us on Hip Hop Nation TV. We appreciate the time and the effort that you made for us. We
And
wish
we
you
got
more
media.
albums, more books.
Yeah, can I
Yeah,
get my
yeah.
social media? Oh,
Ochi,
yeah, yeah. At Wordsworth Brooklyn, Wordsworth BKLYN. That's
yep,
my Instagram.
yep.
Also, Organized Rhyme. If you type Organized Rhyme, University of Miami, that's my class that I teach online. And then
Okay.
also my book Socks, What Words Are Worth, and my podcast, What Words Are Worth on Wordsworth TV. I got like
Yeah.
over 50 interviews on there, man, with a lot of our favorite.
Oh,
So check my podcast out, y'all.
wait, Ochi, wasn't the one where you actually did an interview with Stu? I think I
I got
saw an interview with him.
Stu, I got Sage Francis, Beat Miners. I got like a lot of our favorites, man.
Oh,
And
okay.
I'm
Can you please send me the links
yeah,
for books and the what's this the podcast, then I'll share it with everyone.
yeah, for sure. Will do, man. I'm actually about to get off here and interview Afro.
What? Oh,
Just, just so
that's a young legend.
just so people know too, Afro mixed and mastered the chemistry album. Yeah. And me, Afro, and Stu Bangers have a whole album done together already. So
Okay.
probably like next year. But me, Afro, and Stu have a whole album.
Okay. Oh,
So,
okay. Because now I'm like thinking so many ideas now, but it's fine.
it's all
We'll have more conversations. Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. OG, but thank you so much again, man.
You too, man.
Much love, much love. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Peace.
Peace, y'all.
All right. Much love. Yo. Whoa. Wordsworth, guys. I never thought I'd have Wordsworth. I mean, my brother from Lesotho, Kadi, introduced me to Wordsworth and punchlines. I was still like a kid. I was like 13 or 14. And I never thought that one day I'd be sitting here having a conversation with the legendary Wordsworth. Um, I don't take this for granted, guys. I'm truly blessed to have conversations with such people and to take advice from the elders. And yo, I want to give a shout out to everyone that has been supporting Hip Hop Nation TV. Uh, want to give a shout out to my family. Want to give a shout out to my friends and everyone else that supported us. Yo, there's still more coming. I'm excited. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited. Chemistry album is out. You know, definitely there's going to be another interview. So for those that didn't watch the interview and you're just watching now, yo, don't worry, you can catch the recording. So yeah, man. Yo, you know how it is. Mighty Ecliptic, I'm out.
First we started out as friends, and those friends turned to foes, and as it became cons, and those cons turned to pros. Made dough as a con, moved in a condo, tried to take dough from John, and became a John Doe. Don't get in the way, don't get in the way, don't get in the way. 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 Don't get in the way.